Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the incredible science of your own memory, all based on some fantastic insights from a lecture by Dr. Rita Rangnikar. We're going to look at how we remember, why we forget, and, most importantly, how you can actually take control of that whole process. So let's start with a question Dr. Rangnikar asks her own students, and it's a great one. Just take a second. Try to think of your earliest memory. What's the most distant, most powerful memory you can pull up from your childhood? Is it a smell? A sound? Is it a feeling? So for one student, it was this moment where her mom told her to ask for a really expensive gift, like a gold bangle. But in that moment, all her little kid brain wanted was a banana, and that's what she asked for. It's a memory that sticks because it's so pure, so simple, and kind of funny, right? It just captures that innocence.
And then you have another student with a much more intense memory. She fell at a construction site, a pretty traumatic event. But the part that's really burned into her brain isn't just the fall. It's the image of her grandfather, who was normally frail, suddenly finding this incredible strength to lift her up and carry her to safety. It just goes to show how our strongest memories often get locked in by really powerful emotions.
Okay, so a simple banana on one hand and a dramatic rescue on the other. You'd think those are completely different things. But here's the fascinating part. Inside your brain, they're built using the exact same fundamental process. So let's break down how that actually works. Every single memory you have, no matter how big or small, goes on this three-step journey. First, your brain has to encode the information. Think of it like saving a file on a computer in the right format. Then, it has to store that file somewhere safe where it won't get lost. And finally, you have to be able to retrieve it, to pull that file up right when you need it.
And honestly, everything really hinges on this first step, encoding. This is the make or break moment. It's where your brain translates everything happening in the outside world into its own language. If this step doesn't go well, if that information isn't coded properly, it can never become a lasting memory. It's just gone.
And our brains are masters at this. They've got a few different tricks. There's semantic encoding, which is all about meaning, like that kid understanding the simple value of a banana. There's visual encoding, which is incredibly powerful. It's why that graphic image on a cigarette box or the memory of a grandfather suddenly looking strong is so hard to shake. And of course, there's auditory encoding. The reason you can still sing the alphabet is because that little tune helped lock it in your brain forever.
So once the information is encoded, where does it all go? Well, your brain has this amazing, highly sophisticated filing system with different cabinets for different kinds of memories.
Everything starts in our short-term memory. You can think of this like your brain's sticky note or scratch pad. It's also called working memory because it holds whatever you're actively thinking about right now. But here's the catch. It's tiny, and info only lasts for about 20 to 30 seconds before it disappears. The real goal, the whole point of learning, is to move that information from the sticky note into the massive permanent warehouse of long-term memory.
Now, this giant warehouse of long-term memory isn't just one big, messy room. It's actually super organized. It's divided into two main departments: memories you know you have, and memories that kind of run on autopilot.
So, explicit memories are the things you can consciously recall and talk about. They're either episodic, which are the stories of your life, like your wedding day or that banana memory, or they're semantic, which are just facts, like knowing there are 12 months in a year. Implicit memory, though, is different. That's your procedural memory. It's the how-to knowledge for skills and habits, things like riding a bike or typing on a keyboard. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. All right, so we've built the memory, we've encoded it, and we've filed it away in the warehouse. But every good story needs a villain, right? And in the story of our memory, the villain is forgetting. So how exactly do we lose all this stuff we've worked so hard to store?
The answer to that question is, well, it's pretty shocking. Way back in the 19th century, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus ran some experiments that showed just how incredibly fast our memories can just evaporate.
Get this. According to his research, within just one day, 24 hours, of learning something new, we're likely to have forgotten half of it. A full 50%. Just gone.
And if you think that's bad, it gets worse. After only 1 week, a staggering 90% of that new information could be completely wiped. It's like it was never even there.
This dramatic nosedive is what scientists call the forgetting curve. It's basically a graph that shows how our memory just plummets if we don't do anything to hold on to the information. And it is, without a doubt, the single biggest enemy for anyone trying to learn something new.
So why does this happen? Well, there are a few usual suspects. Sometimes it's just memory decay, the classic use it or lose it.
Other times, it's interference, where other memories get in the way and muddy the waters. You could also have an encoding failure, which means you never really saved it properly to begin with. And then there's maybe the most frustrating one of all, retrieval failure. That's that tip of your tongue feeling where you know it's in there, you just can't seem to find the key to unlock the file. But here is the really good news, and it's the most important part of this whole story. We do not have to be victims of the forgetting curve. We can actually fight back. We can build memories that are designed to last.
The whole game is about one thing: intentionally moving information from that fragile little short-term sticky note into the permanent, durable archive of long-term memory. And the single most powerful tool we have to do that is good old-fashioned practice.
And the way we do that is with something called a rehearsal loop. It works like this. First, you pay close attention, and that brings the information into your short-term memory. Then, instead of just letting it fade away, you rehearse it. You repeat it, you use it in a sentence, you try to explain it to a friend. You keep that information active. That rehearsal process is what strengthens the connection until finally that memory gets encoded and moved into long-term storage for good.
And rehearsal doesn't just mean chanting things over and over again. Although that can work, it could be anything from using a song or a rhyme to make something stick to doing more complex things like role-playing or simulations for a new skill. But maybe the most powerful method of all is just taking what you learn and immediately applying it in the real world.
So when you put it all together, you see that a strong, reliable memory isn't about just one thing. It's a balanced system. You need great encoding to get the information in correctly, you need solid storage to keep it safe, and you need dependable retrieval to get it back out when you need it. If any one of those three parts breaks down, the whole system struggles. And that really brings us to the bottom line here. Real learning, the kind that actually sticks, is not a passive thing that just happens to you. It's an active process. It's about deliberately mastering all three of these stages: encoding with purpose, storing with care, and practicing retrieval for when it really matters.
Which leaves us with one last thought to chew on. At the end of the day, we are what we remember. Our memories are the building blocks of our personality, our skills, and how we see the world. They literally make us who we are. So knowing that you have a hand in shaping them, what will you choose to hold on to?